Hello, and welcome back to A Cast for Crows, the Game of Thrones inspired podcast here on deadscreen.net. We are here to discuss episode 2, titled Home. For some reason, I'm your host, Joe Ballard, but with me as always are...
Drew Mab.
Alexa Ruffenfrost.
He's Drew this week. I think he might be Bob next week, but we'll have to wait and see. So we had a lot of stuff happen on this episode. I think we may disagree on whether that stuff was all positive, but there's only one place we can really start. Jon Snow.
You can't see me, but I'm shaking my head.
Jon Snow has come back from the dead, as everyone kind of knew. Andy,
except for Andy for some reason.
Listen, I knew, I just didn't want it to happen. It was just one of those things that, you're always a little bit worried about anything going on, and now it's out the window. Who cares? You can just, do some magic and everybody comes back now.
I mean, it's not, easy magic.
It looks
it's
easy.
not like
She
anyone
just,
can do it, and it's not easy magic either.
Oh, crap, I didn't do it, and just, walked away.
Did you not see the toll it took on her?
Well,
and she's a very powerful witch.
See, she learned something that we were told back in season 1. If you'll remember for a second, back when Daenerys tried to save Khal Drogo's life, she was told by that the witch. She was told that only death may pay for life, and now Melisandre has learned that too, because it was long suspected that after she burned Shireen, she took a life, and so that would give her a kind of power to bring back a life. And so it appears to be that burning Shireen did give her the power to bring back Jon.
Oh. I was wondering if that was meant that she was gonna have to die.
So Andy, did you just how did you feel about the scene being handled in general? Did you like it? Did it keep you in suspense? Or?
No, and it did. It kept me in suspense for the opposite reason it probably kept most people in suspense. I was like, oh no, he's gonna move. He's going to move. Maybe he's not gonna move. Oh no, he's gonna move. It's the exact opposite of what I think most people were wanting to happen. But I didn't think he was gonna wake up. I didn't think they'd bring him right back in episode 2. He's been dead all 2 episodes.
Yeah,
but he's also been dead for a year.
For a year?
Our time.
Okay, I was like, whoa, he did not decompose. This does not seem like it's been a year.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say in regards to that is I think also it was important for him to come back now before he starts decomposing and starts, rotting and being gross.
Well, from the, little half second we saw of him, he looks totally normal. It's just Jon fucking
He looks
Snow.
A little, yeah. I mean, yeah, but if we had waited till, the end of the season, God knows how much time would have passed by, and then he...
But,
How much time has it been? Do we have, a general idea of how much time it's been since he's been dead?
It can have been long. I would say at the most a week.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, you also have to consider how cold it is where they are, which preserves it.
In regards to all of, the press stuff, was everybody just lying? We just get lied to through all the press
Did you not see the video of Jon Snow apologizing for lying?
No. I don't.
He was like, I'm so sorry, guys.
I don't research it.
He even lied to his fellow cast
I have a
members.
Facebook, and yeah, they had to use a different name and stuff to when they referenced him. He had to use a fake name and all this stuff to trip everyone up. Actually, I was reading that the actress who plays Sansa wrote him a letter of how it was so nice to work with him and how she was so sad that she wasn't able to work with him anymore.
And on the flip side, the actor who plays Davos, Liam Cunningham, told him to fuck off because he knew it wasn't true.
I mean, was anybody surprised? That was this to me is a defining moment in the series from just somebody who watches the show where I'm genuinely not shocked or surprised.
No, I mean, I wasn't surprised that it happened. I'm surprised it happened so early. But that's really the only surprise that I had with it. I mean, I think everyone kind of knew he was coming back.
The whole thing with Jaime and the High Sparrow thing, I got real nervous. I was like, Jaime's gonna die right here. Like, I was genuinely nervous. He's been a big character for 6 seasons, and I was like, this could be the end of him.
But I think what the showrunners have told us regarding Jon coming back so early, I think that surprised most of us.
Yeah.
But what it tells us is that one, they no longer care about the fact that they're going beyond the books. They don't care about a slow pace. They're gonna speed it up. And I think Jon's storyline always seems to be building to something very big every season,
Mm-hmm.
and it's clear that he still has a lot to do.
Yeah, he wasn't finished
to
at
reach
all.
that point. And so, I think we're going to see a lot of very fast progression in his storyline. And so I think that was the main reason they wanted to bring him back so quickly and just get it over with and move on.
I'm interested to see if there's going to be a toll on him for coming back. I'm sure it's not just going to be super easy and that's it and he's back. I'm sure the Lord of Light or whoever brought him back is going to want something from him.
And what will his demeanor be? Will he how will he treat the people who betrayed him? How will he even treat the people who follow him now? Will he be completely different? We don't know yet.
I'm thinking he's going to be different. I think he's going to be different for sure. I think death takes a toll on anyone, and no one's going to come back the same.
So, is this something? This is not happened in the books yet, obviously, but is this something that you think is going to happen in the books?
Yes. Most people suspected he would come back to life, and most people suspected it would be Melisandre who did it.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of Shireen hasn't died yet in the book, so no one knows how Jon is going to be brought back. But yeah, this was pretty easy guesswork, most of it.
I don't know. It's just not what I wanted to happen.
Last week I said the same thing. It wasn't what I wanted to happen either. As far as it happening so soon. But having actually watched it, I think the showrunners handled it very, very well.
They did.
It definitely excited me. I was like, this is awesome.
It didn't excite me, but I was very invested in that scene. So I, from somebody who didn't want it to happen, it held me the entire time.
Yeah.
Because they held camera angles really long, and I was like, he's gonna move right here. He's gonna move. Did he move? Did he breathe or something? I was they had me totally invested in that scene, so it was exciting to watch for the opposite reasons as everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, I figured this was gonna be the moment the second that Ghost got up, because it was he knows this is happening.
That's what I thought too. That was when, because I thought it would maybe cut away earlier and be like, oh, you don't know if it worked, but the moment Ghost sort of sat up, it was oh, I feel you, I sense you now.
Yeah.
I thought it was really well done, though. It was it built up a lot of suspense. You're just wait, okay, wait,
right,
wait.
From a film perspective or whatever, I thought it was very, very well done.
And I like that he didn't just open his eyes and that's it. He woke up and he was gasping for breath. It was so just it built it all up completely. It was great.
I thought it would have been fun. I was thinking about this while that scene was going on. If he opened his eyes and started that whole thing, and they cut it a millisecond after, so he didn't even get a full breath in, sort of Inception, when that top is spinning, and they cut it right before it starts to fall over. Wondering if they they cut it right away, so some people are what? Did he open it? Did I see it? Did I not see it? I don't know. I thought it was pretty well done though. So
yeah, I mean my roommate. And she's there, or I'm going to be really upset.
So I guess we got our second flashback in Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Sort of, but it wasn't even real flashback. It was a pseudo flashback.
It was.
It was a flashback of something we haven't seen.
But it wasn't a flashback, quote unquote, because Bran was just sort of walking around.
Well, yeah, it was a flashback vision, yeah, what Joe said.
Yeah.
That was significant though, because one, it's the first time we saw Lyanna Stark, and let's just throw out the obvious fact that the first time they show Lyanna Stark is the day that Jon Snow comes back.
Mhm.
That has to be connected.
Yeah.
But also, we learned something I don't know anyone ever really guessed, is that Hodor has a name. His
And
name
that he could
is Willis.
speak.
So that's
Yeah,
all
he can
new stuff
speak.
to you too.
Yes, it is.
Huh.
I'm
Yeah,
really
this was
curious.
this went past the books for sure. And but what we learned is that we definitely learned that Lyanna is an accomplished horse rider, as she was showing off,
Mhm.
and it can be implied that she was an accomplished fighter as well, like good with a sword.
Mhm.
So we saw Lyanna and we saw Ned and Benjen.
Mhm.
Outside of so, talk to me about like what the whole significance of that little scene was from somebody who doesn't know any of the backstory hardly at all.
Right. Well, it's hard to say it without going into like complete guesswork, but the significance here
You can go into a
is
little guesswork.
okay. Yeah. Hodor. It makes you wonder. First off, it makes you wonder what happened to
Mhm.
Hodor to
Mhm.
make him to alter his speech and like just become known as Hodor. Like maybe he doesn't even remember his own name. And but as far as Lyanna and the significance of this, my guess is that John's parentage is going to be revealed this
Yeah.
coming weekend, and it'll be Bran who finds out, and there may not be a character alive who in the show who will know John's parentage. So maybe this is why
Wait,
Bran is meant to
wait,
have these visions.
isn't Howland Reed still alive though?
He may be, but he may not come to the show. We don't know
Yeah.
yet.
Sure.
And
Um.
if he's not, we don't. I don't know if there's like any other character who would know John's true parentage. So it may be up to Bran to reveal that for us.
Mhm. I also thought that it was important because like the way we saw her doesn't follow the narrative that Robert Baratheon said that she was just taken. Like I don't think she would have let herself be taken. Like I don't think she would have just been kidnapped and like raped and all this stuff without like a fight. So I think that also like kind of makes you think like maybe Robert was like telling himself what he wanted to hear, but like when you see this, like you don't picture her as someone who just got kidnapped.
Correct. I agree.
I
Andy, what do you
feel
think?
well. I'm just trying to think. Like I remember a lot of that because I've talked with you guys about it a bunch. But like the layperson who knows less than I do, like, are they making any of these connections? Like, are they remembering back to seasons 1 and 2 when that sort of came up a
I
couple
don't know.
times?
I don't know if that's something that would, because I don't think. I mean, I think my friend who watches it was like, "Wait, who's this?" And I was
Right,
like, "Leanna," and she's like, "Who?" And I'm like, "Ned's sister."
right.
Wait,
Like
who?
I only knew because we've talked about stuff like this in detail, but I don't know if like my girlfriend's parents know and like they watch the show, but I don't know if they watched it and were like, oh yeah, I remember that's this person and all this stuff happened. So it'd be interesting to see like because it seems like there's a very big conspiracy that just isn't really touched on in the show all that much. It seems like it's much more of a after show on the internet talking to people sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're definitely gonna see something that'll either confirm or deny it next week. And I think for those who don't know about the theory, they're gonna be like, "Wait, what?"
So I have a question as to why you guys both said it was going to happen next week. Was it something in the like next week on?
Yeah. We'll talk about
Yes.
that later.
Okay.
We'll
Yeah,
talk
we'll
about that
we'll get
later.
we'll get to it later.
I don't have the next week on part, so I didn't watch it. Um, so like I said a little earlier, I thought that the whole scene with Jamie and the High Sparrow was pretty well done because while there are certain characters that I feel are nearing this like they're probably safe for the rest of the show territory to some degree. Like when all those people started coming in, I got very nervous and I was like, we might lose Jaime here, because he kind of, like we were talking about Theon, he kind of went through his arc, you know, the redemption and all that. So is this his last little, I wasn't sure that Jaime was going to make it out of there entirely.
I wasn't either. I don't think Jaime's like entirely safe.
Right.
I think a lot of like his character growth has gotten to such a point where it's like, well, now what?
Right.
The loving father and stepping up for his kid. Well, his only kid now, but.
Right. And it was just one of those things that something sort of needed to happen with his character. And it just, when all those people walked in, I was like, this is going to be super awesome, and he might die here. But then just sort of went right to the next scene, and it's like, gotta wait for this. Which I was a little bummed out.
Yeah, I thought that scene was just brilliantly done. Like, that's something that has been a Game of Thrones strength, is that the scenes where there's nothing but like two characters talking, they can be so intense and keep you just like on the edge of your seat. And I thought both actors through that whole conversation were brilliant. And just like you, Andy, I was thinking, oh my God, Jaime like actually might not be safe here.
Right.
But I didn't think about him being killed right there. But I thought he might get arrested and tossed in a cell, kind of like the others were.
Well,
wait. Sorry, I had a quick question. So Jaime said he killed one of his cousins. Did he kill Lancel? Do I not remember that?
He didn't kill Lancel.
This was something that was bothering me last week. I was like, what cousin did he kill?
I don't remember. I can only imagine that it was during Robert's Rebellion, and he killed one of his cousins who was very clearly still siding with the Mad King.
Okay. I wasn't sure
that's
if
my
that was
guess,
significant.
but I don't remember. Yeah, I don't think it's significant, no.
I was like, why would you mention it if we haven't seen that? But okay.
I feel like that scene was really important to the High Sparrow and that whole like faith aspect of the show, because I think the scene right before it was with Cersei and what is little
Tommen.
Cersei and Tommen, when Tommen was just like, dude, I fucked up. I did this all wrong. I should have stopped this all a long time ago, sort of thing. So I think having him realize and express that, and then cutting to that scene where, they all surround Jaime, it's like they're really setting that up to be the next sort of like little conflict there, and where it's less gray for a lot of characters, it seems to be very more clear cut at this point that stuff's just sort of going to go down, because people were passive for a little bit and letting them kind of do their thing, but now it's like, hey, these guys are not doing it the way that they should probably be doing it.
It's like, who are the Lannisters going to go to war with first, Dorne or the Faith?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Or the Tyrells even, because, Cersei was behind Margaery and Loras getting thrown in cells, so they still have that trial to work out, too.
I think the better question is, who aren't the Lannisters going to go to war with next?
Yeah. That's a good point.
I don't know, I just thought those two scenes back to back really set the tone for that like chunk of the storyline with those characters as to what they were gonna
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they're going to do, because right now, like you said, they've had like a somewhat passive role. Like, yeah, they like made Cersei walk through like the town completely naked, but I'm wondering if they're gonna start getting violent.
Right, because they all came out with like their chains and clubs and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So then we had a sad little moment. We need to light a little candle for our boy Bruce. Sad to see him go. So do you want to explain a little bit about some of the significance of that scene, because just in case it got lost on some people?
Yeah. Basically, Roose and Walda had confirmed that she had given birth to a boy, and Ramsay was maybe Ramsay had it planned for a while if that was the case, but Roose, it was also significant that Roose was still significantly talking down to him, and like chastising him, like he's trying to teach him, but he's Ramsay's not one to really take advice.
He's a mad dog, like
Yeah,
how Bruce was
exactly.
saying.
And that his father's last words were, "You will always be my firstborn son." And Ramsay even finishes by saying, "That means a lot to me, father." And then, bam, stab. You're gone.
Right. That was such a good like Game of Thrones moment. Why I like this show so much, because you aren't expecting any of that to happen. And
Joe and I were talking. We were kind of surprised we weren't expecting it. We should have
Right.
been.
Like it makes sense when you think back about his character and sort of what he expects to do, what you expect him to do, but like the way they set up that whole scene, and you sort of got comfortable. You're like, oh, we've seen this before. He yells at him, and then he sort of, whatever. But then, like, you're right, it was just sort of like bam, and I was like, what happened? Did he stab him? Who stabbed him? It was like you couldn't put it together for a quick little second. And that's just.
But like, I think it was planned, because that Karstark kid or dude was like, yeah, okay, this is happening. Like he didn't stop it at all. He didn't seem surprised by it. I think it must have been something that was planned.
Right.
So the question is, what's Ramsay's next step going to be? Is he going to be any sort of ruler at all?
I mean, I don't think anyone's going to want to support him, because I think the only people who wanted to support the Boltons were because of Roose. I think Ramsay's going to blow.
I don't agree, actually. I think he's going to have a lot of northern families on his side, the ones that Robb pissed off by taking off Lord Karstark's head. And I think this is going to be the true Battle of the North that we wanted with Stannis. It's going to be the people who supported the Boltons, and then the people who are still loyal to the Starks. I think it's going to.
Well, it's probably be the battle at
we're building
Winterfell.
to that.
Yeah, I think it's that battle that we're expecting to see.
A proper battle.
Jon in.
An actual battle.
I think it's that battle that Melisandre saw in the flames.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, who was the other guy standing with him when he killed?
He was a Karstark. Was he Lord Karstark's son?
He was one of Lord Karstark's son, yes. And
yeah.
Robb, if you'll remember, Robb took off the eldest Karstark's head.
Right, I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you're saying, there are already some allegiances there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Assuming that
Correct.
they're a relatively big family, so it's with some influence, so it's not like a little nobody.
Well, yeah.
Correct.
When Robb cut off his head, his mom was like, "Don't do it. We need the Karstarks. They're like half our like army, so they're a big family. They're important."
Yes, they are.
So what is the? We'll save that for later. So we saw Tyrion and some dragons do some stuff.
Yes, we did. He
did stuff.
They talked it over, and they decided their next step should be to free the other two dragons, Viserion and Rhaegal. And Tyrion and Varys just kind of go down there, and Tyrion walks up with his, with the flames on a stick and with his torch, and he just kind of talks to him a little bit, and they stand still for the most part, and they let him undo their chains. And for me, the significance of this scene isn't so much that Tyrion freed the dragons as how quickly and easily they took to him. Like, they made it clear that dragons are very intelligent creatures. They know who they can and cannot trust, and yet they trusted him almost too easily.
Immediately.
And so it brings up a lot of questions about Tyrion and what is coming, what will be revealed in his future as well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, do you have some speculations on that front, or is it just?
Alexa,
There's
you
a
can
theory.
take it. I know you know it.
I I know. I feel like I'm a little rusty though. Okay, so there's a theory that Tyrion is a Targaryen because the Mad King was the Mad King, and he took some liberties. Allegedly took some liberties with Joanna. Is that her name?
Hmm.
So he really liked her, and I mean Tyrion isn't like the other Lannisters, so there's a good chance that he might be a Targaryen. I think that may kind of be a good indicator of whether or not that might be true.
It's also worth noting that in the books and the show, Tywin Lannister's last words were
Mm-hmm.
to Tyrion.
You're
He
no son
said,
of mine.
You are no son of mine," and a lot of people have read into that as well. But on a more
Well, and it would also explain why Tywin was so like resentful of Tyrion and like why he hated him.
yeah, because it always seemed a little too much of a stretch to just hate Tyrion for being a dwarf. I don't know.
Well, and like yeah, and like it just seemed like a lot. And like I know like the other like Cersei hated him because he killed their mother during childbirth, which is of no fault of his own. So like I think it's a bit of a stretch too. I think Tywin is suspicious about that.
So
And what this also suggests that Tyrion could possibly ride a dragon at some point because it's clear that they trust him.
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those scenes that I think really could have benefited from seeing somebody else try to deal with those dragons. And I think we sort of did last season. Didn't they burn and did they attack a couple people?
Well, they weren't even like they kind of tried burning Daenerys
Right.
at one
So,
point.
like, you like that whole theory and whatnot makes a lot of sense to me, but like I didn't pick up on any of that. I thought it of, they're a little skeptical, but then this guy lets one of them free, so the other one's like, you can just let me free as well. And then, because they're smart enough to know if they played along, they could be set free. So I think that scene would have benefited from somebody else trying to set him free or something, and then being
Yeah.
like eaten or burned or slapped away. And then if he came up and did it, you would know that there was maybe some extra special significance to him doing it. But like as a layperson trying to watch it, I was just like, oh, they were smart enough to realize that he was going to let them free, so the other one was just like, sure, here you go, and sort of leaned down a little bit to help him out.
Well, I think that's what the point was. I think for those who don't know the theory, it's just like, oh, okay, cool. But for those who do, it's kind of like, wait,
Is
this
adds
confirming
more weight
something?
to it.
Yeah. So like, I think it's just kind of like one of those things where it's like, hey, this is a cool scene. Let's
But,
see what
like,
happens.
Those two theories, this one and then about Jon Snow's parents, like those things are things that I think are really interesting, and I don't know why there aren't like maybe little more obvious tidbits to like for people who don't watch the show to pick up on those theories, because there's no way you really know much about them unless you are paying an excessive amount of attention or you read stuff online. Like I feel like there's so many people who just don't know about it, and I feel like the show would benefit from like maybe a little more mystery into some of those things, like slightly more obvious question marks.
Well, I think they're also like trying to play off this like shock value. So those who have no idea, they're like, wait, what?
Oh,
So
right.
like when those things happen, because like, yeah, I mean there are things that I didn't know were gonna happen. I didn't know that Oberyn's head was gonna explode, and the way they did it, I was like, what?
Right.
So I think they like playing off that shock value.
Right.
And for those who like make an effort to read into it,
Okay,
it's like kind of like Easter eggs for them.
I believe that. So, Joe, I need you to explain the whole Greyjoy scene because I don't know anything that's going on or anything that happened.
Yeah, I'm lost.
Yeah, this is a good one because this happened quite a while back in the book. So, yeah, they didn't do a great job with this scene because they could have at least named the characters for you guys. I only knew who they were because I read the books, so I knew it was coming. But basically, what you saw, to sum it up, is the first brother, the one who's like apparently 30 years younger than his brother Balon. It was Euron Greyjoy, and he has been. I'm not going to say where he's been all this time because you should find out soon. But he came back with apparently the intention of ruling the Iron Islands and much more than that. And obviously, with Balon being the oldest brother, he just decided, well, I'm gonna murder my own brother. It's time for him to go. And yeah, that was pretty much that. But what was interesting and one thing you guys should make note of is the number of times Euron made declarations like Balon would say, "Don't mock the drowned god," and then Euron responded with, "I am the drowned god." It's kind of significant, so you'll want to pay attention to that later. But also later at Balon's funeral, shortly after that, the priest who led that funeral, long gray hair, that is another brother. His name is Aeron Greyjoy, and he
They're
is
not that
also
original with their names, these Greyjoys.
yeah. They all end in on.
A fantasy setting having poorly thought out names. What a surprise.
But yes, they are both of these new Greyjoys are uncles to Theon and Yara, and they're both going to be around for a while. And
So is
Alexa,
the priest
you
really
also,
significant too?
yes,
He is? Okay.
they both are. Euron's. I hope they stick close to Euron's actual storyline because he's a great
Badass?
character. Yeah, not quite on Oberyn's level, but he's still a badass in his own right. But
That's good. I missed having a badass on the show.
But yeah, they also mentioned, Alexa, you noted the word Kingsmoot, which which is something I don't want to say too much, but what it is, basically, I'll give you very simple terms, is now that Balon is dead, the Iron Islands have their own way of deciding who their next ruler will be. And so, I won't go into that, but we should see the Kingsmoot play out very soon.
Yeah, I think I read a little bit about it. I don't know who gets what, but I did read what a Kingsmoot is.
There's another Greyjoy character who I'm hoping will still show up, who is significant as well, because there's still a few cast members who will show up eventually, and we don't know their roles because they've been kept so secret. And I hope one of them is another Greyjoy because having all of them together is going to be so much fun to see that played out.
Yeah.
But you're saying a lot of this stuff is stuff that happened in book 3 or something? Happened a while ago?
A lot of it happened in, I want to say, through book 4 and through somewhat of book 5. But one interesting change was that when Balon Greyjoy died, all we were told was that he died while walking on a bridge in the middle of a storm, and the bridge kind of collapsed completely, so it was assumed that Balon's death was a complete accident. But there were hints that Euron may have had something to do with it. But yeah, they just decided to skip that in the show and just have Euron murder him outright. So there's no question about that.
We never saw him before. That was the scene we were introduced to him with, right?
Correct.
Okay. I was just making sure because they showed him and sort of did this thing, and I felt like I should know who he was, but I was like, I don't know who this is.
See, the second I saw that bridge, I was like, whose idea was it to make this crappy as hell bridge? Just go out in it in the middle of the rain. That's a good plan.
I like in the intro whenever they show they have these big pillars come up and the little bridges flop up and get all floppy on it. You can see it on the intro.
I didn't see the Iron Island. I didn't notice them on the intro.
I didn't either.
What?
But someone
That's
was like,
awesome.
"Oh my God, Iron Islands! I see you!" And I was like, "I didn't see the Iron Islands. Where were they?"
They were there. There's these 3 pillars that come up and there's little bridges in between them, and when they finally pop, the bridges spring back into place.
I'm gonna have to look out for it. You have to look out for it for sure because I'm interested in seeing it.
You can't talk about the Kingsmoot without spoiling stuff, is what I'm gathering.
I mean, can you
Correct.
talk about what a Kingsmoot is at all, or do we just not want to go into it at all?
I can say that, like I said before, it's the Iron Islanders' way of choosing a new ruler when necessary. And the only other thing I'll say is the candidates who are nominated have to bring like
Seaweed.
treasures of sorts, like
Mm.
things that will be good for the people, and
Starfish.
then and then they and then like depending on the amount of followers they gain after that, it's decided who the new ruler will be. But that's all I can really say. But all I can say is it should be really fun to see it play out. And
I'm
don't forget, at
excited.
the end, Yara Greyjoy suggested that she might try to play a part in this, and we know Theon is going. Theon said he was going back home, so he might even be a part of it too. We'll just have to wait and see.
Mm. Huh. Uh, so we've had two little over the first two episodes. I don't think we talked about it last week. We have two little scenes of Arya being blind and fighting with a stick. It's basically the same scene twice in a row. Not super into it. Her
I
storyline
mean,
used to be one of my favorites, and now I'm just like, can you just get to something else?
Yeah, she's well, at least we did get some progression at the very end because we know
yeah,
she's graduated from beggar status,
yeah.
and um, we saw from the preview of this coming episode, we know that she's going to learn a little bit more about fighting while blind. But yeah, I have to agree with Andy. This whole storyline is just moving way too slow now, and
What I liked about it,
they need to kick it up.
what I liked about it a lot was how we saw how like I don't even want to say broken, but like how desperate Arya is to like join them when Jack and Hagar is like, if a girl says her name, I'll give her her sight back, and she's just like she hesitates and she's like, a girl has no name. Like I think that was interesting to see like how much she's progressed.
And like she doesn't even know like what's coming. I don't think she even knows
Hmm.
what she's going to learn yet, which is why it's kind of odd to me that she's so dedicated to it. Like how are you dedicated to something you're not sure about? But maybe that's another faith issue that she has in
I
her
think
own way. Like she's seen Jack and Hagar perform these miracles slash deaths, um, and maybe she's desperate to learn how to do that too. I don't know.
well, I think it's also come to a point where she's like, I don't know what else to do with myself if I don't have this.
Where is she?
She's in Bravos.
Yep.
Uh,
And maybe she under the impression that she is the only living Stark aside from maybe Jon?
I don't
Like
know
is
if
that
she
is
thinks
that what
that
she believes?
Sansa's dead. I don't think there's any indication that she would think that Sansa's dead. I think she's just like not sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just ready for that storyline to start getting
Although,
kick.
like, did she know that Sansa was with her aunt? Because if she knows that, then maybe she thinks that when her aunt died, Sansa died.
I
I
I
don't know.
I don't know.
I
I don't know. It's
guess
just
we'll see.
interesting. Arya's putting a lot of faith without without really knowing what's
What
coming. But
she's
maybe you're
yeah.
you're you're right. You're right though. I guess maybe she feels like she doesn't have anything else, and for now this is what she has. So
Yeah, I mean, she gave up on finding her family the second her aunt was dead, and she's like, "Well, that's it. I'm done." And right as I get there,
So Sansa is still working her way up north, and Theon got to a point where he's like, I'm sort of done here, and so he bailed. So it's just Sansa and Brienne and Podrick now, marching
okay,
north.
I was confused what he was saying when he was like, "I'm leaving, but I would have died for you." Like, so why didn't you try?
yeah, that confused me too. I don't know. I have no idea what he meant by that. That was
Because
very
like
confusing.
that to me is like being like, I would have helped you, but like I'm not going to. Like I don't understand what he was saying.
I don't know. I can't help.
I didn't get that either. It's interesting. It's interesting that he would choose now to go and return to the Iron Islands. Like, Sansa's not at the wall yet. Ramsay could conceivably catch them. So it's a strange time to leave, but I guess they just want to connect him with these new Greyjoys and that whole deal. But yeah, I felt like that scene was strangely handled.
Also, like, was Sansa suggesting that he join the Night's Watch, and that's why he's like, I don't want to be forgiven? Like,
Yeah. She suggested that he should join the Night's Watch, and then like all his crimes would immediately be erased. But
is that maybe why he didn't want to go? Because he doesn't feel like he deserves it?
No, I mean, just going up there, Jon presumably wouldn't force him to take the Black. So I'm not sure why he had such an aversion to it, which was it just seems strange to me. I don't know.
Because like he was like,
assume...
he was like, Jon would kill me, but then he's like, but I would die for you. So I don't. What? That scene just confused the crap out of me.
Yeah, as far as Sansa though, do you guys think it's safe to assume she will make it to the wall, or do you think there's a chance she'll be caught?
I think she's been screwed over enough. It's time.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I feel like they didn't hint at all that much about them almost being caught.
Well, I think because you didn't see the preview for the next episode. That's where we are having like our qualms about it, because in the preview we see someone going to Ramsay and being like, I have a gift for you. But I think if it were Sansa, that would be way too obvious.
And knowing Ramsay, it has to be a person, knowing Ramsay.
I don't think it's Theon. I don't think he would have cared that much. He would have just killed him and like that would have been done with it.
Yeah, but he likes to torture and take it slow.
The overwhelmingly popular theory... Yeah, I think Theon's done there.
I don't want this theory.
The overwhelmingly popular theory, Andy, it makes me sick to even say this, but the theory is that it's going to be Rickon Stark.
Oh,
the youngest.
We don't know. That's why he could be
him. Where did you last see him?
I think right before they went past the wall, right? Because like Osha didn't want to go.
Is that so? Like he and Tonks went a different way?
Yes, they did not go to the wall. No one knows where they've been, but they've been somewhere up north between Winterfell and the Wall. That's all I can say. But yeah, the gift is widely thought to be Rickon Stark, and we could be in for some real horror scenes if that turns out to be the case. But
yeah, no, I don't want that at all. I was sick to my stomach when they showed that preview. I was like, who is it? Who is it? Please no. And then you said Rickon, and I was like, crap. That's probably true.
Huh.
But yeah, regarding Sansa, I think it's safe to assume she's going to reach the Wall and Jon at this point. And I think that's what we're building up to, is a proper Battle of the North. And Jon is going to... Basically, Jon and anyone who joins him, wildlings and everyone else, the goal is going to be to... Yeah, the goal is going to be to destroy Ramsay and his supporters and presumably place Sansa in charge of the whole North, let alone Winterfell. But that's just my guess, but we'll see.
I think that makes the most sense, though.
And then Jon, presumably, he can go wherever he wants, so he can, after he establishes Sansa, or the Starks, back in the North, then you go, like, warn the rest of the realm, like, hey, stop fighting with each other, get your shit together, White Walkers are coming.
We go and die.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
either
excited though.
knock it off or we're dead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited because it's been a long time since we've had two Starks together.
No kidding.
Kind of, I kind of really hope that she finds him because otherwise it's like, come on, come on.
Are we ready to talk about what else
Let's do
episode
it.
3 previewed?
I
Let's
don't
do
know. You have to explain it to me.
it. You should just watch it right now, Andy.
No.
Yeah. Yeah,
We're gonna
there's
tell you
a
anyway.
well, Andy, you'll be happy. We're getting another flashback, and this one's going to be much more important because
So are we getting a
what we
flashback, or are we
It's
getting
gonna be a Bran thing, I think.
like a little daydream walk around?
it's going to be a Bran flashback vision. That's what we can call them, flashback visions.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what we're going to see is, or what we saw in the preview is two sets of swordsmen who are about to fight against each other, and one side was Targaryen supporters, and at least one member of the Kingsguard from back then, and a much younger Ned, and presumably,
Robert?
not Robert, but Robert was fighting Rhaegar at this time.
Okay.
But what this is it's the scene from a place called the Tower of Joy, which is where Lyanna Stark passed away.
So
And the Rhaegar's men were defending, well, kind of defending her and whatever was going on in there.
Her
And
baby.
we're gonna see yeah, we're gonna see a young Ned Stark and his men at least do battle with them, and we might see more. I don't know.
I think it'd be awesome if we could confirm the theory. Just right then and there.
Yeah,
But I think
huge
that's
huge
wishful
book
thinking.
spoilers. Huge book spoilers coming.
So, how are you feeling with this? Because you keep talking about how these are pretty much two different mediums and two different stories right now. But if you're getting something that is gonna basically spoil your medium, like as somebody who's so invested in the books, how do you feel about these things that you know are connected to what you are reading as opposed to maybe being different?
Last season, we spent so much of last season talking about this, and I was constantly dreading significant spoilers, but we didn't really get any.
Right.
And now this season we are getting them, and it's clear just from the preview we got that many more are coming. And I kind of gave up being like oh damn it, or being upset or not looking forward to it. I'm just like, you know what? He's taking friggin' forever with the books, so screw it. I'm just looking forward to seeing what comes next. Whether it's spoilers or completely different, I don't care. I'm just happy to see story progressing either way.
I like these like little flashbacks though, because I think it's like stuff that we've heard about so much, but we haven't seen it yet, and I like seeing it like visually.
And this one's going to be so significant because it's one of the most important parts of Robert's Rebellion, that whole era right there.
I still stand by they should make a Robert's Rebellion movie.
That would be awesome. Or maybe we will get a movie and it'll all just play out in Bran's head. We'll just see Bran standing there watching the movie.
That'd be great.
But yeah, one thing I'm wondering is, will we see Rhaegar Targaryen in one of these flashbacks?
Oh, I hope so. I want to see him. He's gonna be so hot.
Well, that's as good a reason as any, I suppose.
Yeah, come on, it's real. You guys, male watchers get everything. It's time for female watchers.
Yeah, like every episode we get Melisandre naked.
She
Yeah.
could naked this episode.
It's first time for everything.
Maybe that was part of Jon coming back. She had to stay clothed for once.
All right.
But yeah, next week is going to be very significant, and I think Jon's parentage may finally be revealed to everyone.
I'm excited. It's been a long time since I've been this excited about the show.
So next week is just going to be you answering a bunch of questions about me going, well, what does that mean? Well, what was that? What is the point of that?
In other words, a normal week.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. I was like, wait, so new house?
Yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up this week. Anything else you guys wanted to add?
I'm
think I'm
sad that
good.
John's back. I'm unhappy.
We couldn't tell, Andy.
I'm not happy with that decision.
Popular opinion, but yes.
All right, well, that concludes this action-packed episode, our recap of Episode 2 titled Home. We will be back next week with Episode 3, Valar Morghulis.